Hi there everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about this little accessory by Saber Tactical, which is probably the best accessory for your FX impact if you're a left-handed shooter or a speed shooter. So without further ado, let's get it installed. Alright, so before we even think about doing work on our gun, we have to make sure everything is safe. Make sure your rifle is not cocked, it is put on safe, and there are no pellets in the breech. For this procedure, we don't have to remove the air since we're not going to go into the rifle itself. Right, first we'll have to remove the barrel, 3mm Allen key, undo your screw here, and gently slide out your barrel. These are those custom stainless steel barrels I made a previous video about. I'll put the link somewhere up in the corner of the screen. Next, we'll remove the scope. On this setup, very easy, since the spur mounts have a quick release, like so. And for the rest of the procedure, I will put it on a bipod for you. Alright, forgot about one thing. Before I put it on a bipod, I will have to remove the cheek piece as well. In my case, I have the cheek rest from Saber Tactical. If you still have the original one, you will have to undo those 4 screws, and in my case, I will have to undo those 2. So that's a 3mm Allen as well. And now I will do a bipod on it. Bipod is on, and it seems like the field pod from Saber Tactical makes a nice platform to work on the top of my gun as well. Now let's go ahead and remove the Picatinny rail, and the screw at the front is a 4mm Allen, I believe. And then the 2 screws at the back are a 2.5. Once your screws are loose, just lift it up. I leave all my screws in place so I don't get mixed up where they have to be when we reassemble everything. Once that is out of the way, we can release all the screws in the top plate with a 2.5mm. Lift it up and put it to the side just like this, because some screws have a different length, as you can see, and they will have to go exactly at the right spot back again. Once we have done that, put this little block to the side for 1 second, lift up the cocking block, slide it backwards and lift it out just like this. I'll put it here on the table as well. Then we will remove this little block here with a 2.5mm on top. Gently lift it up like so. Make sure this little pin stays in place, and this we can also put to the side. Then lift up on the cocking arm, making sure the pin stays in place, and this we can put as well to the side. Once we have done all that, we can put the impact to the side for 1 second. I will focus on disassembling and reassembling the cocking link. Okay, put the cocking link here. This block can go to the side for 1 second. And we also take this one with it. And then we have the new parts by Saber Tactical. This part here will replace this part that we took out. In this part you have 2 O-rings that you can transfer to the new block, but I went ahead, took two new ones and put them inside. I believe it's a 14 by 1.5 NBR 70. That's the first thing you will have to transfer from your old system to your new one. Then the cocking linkage itself. Now the cocking linkage itself, the length of this is very important to where the pellet probe seats into your barrel. But we'll go ahead and I'll show you this a little bit later, how I do this. First thing we gotta do is heat this up a little bit, because probably it has been glued with some red Loctite. For this I have a little torch and I have a vice grip with some shrinkage tape on the edges to make sure I'm not damaging the cocking link. That should be enough. Take my grip vise or vice grips and undo the old block from the cocking linkage. Be careful, these parts will be hot, so you don't burn yourself. Put it to the side, just like this. One more thing we have to transfer from the original one. Let me wipe off. That's this little rubber ball. Just take your nails, pry it out, just like this. Take the new one, this side, and push it in, just like so. And at this stage we can put all the older parts to the side, except for this little screw that will have to go here, and the older parts can go to the side. Now, one thing people tend to forget, and why they get inconsistent results, is that they don't, when they reassemble everything, they don't put the correct length on this linkage arm, so the pellet probe sits perfectly over the transfer port. So what I usually do, I put it inside like this, line everything up, then I take a marker and I mark what is the perfect depth of my pellet probe into my barrel, so the pellet probe opening and the transfer port align perfectly. Once that is done, I can put the barrel back to the side. Then I take a little drop of blue Loctite. The one I'm using is Loctite 243, since some people asked in the comments of a previous video. Put a little bit of blue Loctite on the threads. Let me quickly wipe off the excess. And then you can go ahead, thread it inside. Like so. And then we can take our impact and reassemble everything. So we have the impact again. First thing we gotta do is install this little block. The hole here will have to align with the pin, like so. The older screw goes in here, 2.5 mil. I'm not going to tighten it yet, so it can still move a little bit, so we can perfectly align everything with the barrel. Second part is your cocking linkage. Put it in at the front. Like so. Make sure you align the back with the front. Like so. Then I take this little front block, put it here, and take the two screws that belong to it. Put them in as well. Quickly tighten them just a little bit with your fingers, so you have a correct bump or end, should I say, to know where your pellet probe is sitting. Now, by the glance of an eye, you can see the red line that I made. That's probably going to be just enough or just shy of where it has to sit into the barrel. So to align everything and to make sure the seating depth of the pallet probe is correct, I'll quickly install the barrel. Hold on to all your pieces. Make sure your barrel seats all the way to the back, like this. Push it all the way forward till it bumps to the front part, and then we can see that my red line perfectly matches my transfer port. So I know the depth of my pallet probe is exactly where I want it to be. Once that is all done, your pallet probe is perfectly aligned. If it's not the case, you can always twist the rod just a little bit more out or inwards to lengthen or shorten the pull, and you can also turn the piece at the back to make it perfectly align with your transfer port, of course. Now, before we reassemble everything, we still have to tighten up this little screw. Make sure you don't forget that. Like this. I'll take the two ones at the front out again. Like this. Then, before we put our top plate back on, I like to take a little bit of grease and just put it on the block like this to make sure you get a smooth cocking action. Not too much, just a little bit. Should do fine. So, take your top plate, make sure all the screws fit where they should. Put the two ones from the front in again. Now, something very important is, don't go ahead, start tightening them from the front to the back and cranking it down, because this plate makes sure the front part and the back part gets aligned perfectly, since those can twist like this a little bit and like this. So what I usually do is make sure all the threads start, then I know that all the screws are engaging. Once I know all the screws engage, I just snug them finger tight. And when you're doing this, you will feel the different parts twisting and settling into the correct orientation. And then you can snug them all up. I do this in a crisscross pattern, not too tight. You have enough screws to keep everything together. So, then we can take our Picatinny rail, make sure the holes align. Same here, just make sure all your threads are starting. And once they're there, you can snug everything up. Like this. The only thing left to do is the cheek rest. like this. No, I'll try to do it without seeing it. And we're almost there. Then we are at the point I can remove the bipod and put the impact back down, so it's easier to show you how to install the cocking arm. So you have your original cocking arm. The Saber Tactical Ambidextrous cocking block comes to you or gets delivered with two different pins. Actually, they look very much the same, except for one is a little bit thicker than the other one. I don't know if you can see it well on camera, but the thicker one goes to the back and the thinner one to the front. All you have to do, put your cocking arm in just like this, feed the pin in from the top, align the hole like so, and repeat the same process for the little one at the front. Just like this, you have a right-handed cocking arm. You want to convert it to the left-handed side? No problem. Just take the two little pins out. And then there is one thing you have to do. You have to reverse this one. This is a nice cocking arm by Yuma Air. Take a 2.5mm Allen. Undo the little screw. Take it out. Turn it around just like this. The little screw back in. I'm showing you this now with the Yuma Air cocking arm, or the grip I mean, but the procedure for the original one is just the same. Make sure that's well tightened. Turn the impact around. And the procedure is much the same. Thicker pin goes into the back, like this, and the thinner one to the front, like this. And then just tighten the two little screws you see here to lock those pins in place. Alright guys, here we are at the end of the video, and just like this we have converted our impact to a left-handed one thanks to the ambidextrous cocking block by Saber Tactical. Installing it was not that difficult at all, just follow the correct steps and procedures and you will do fine, I'm sure. Just like this we have a left-handed cocking impact, perfect for left-handed shooters or for those speed shooters that can probably keep cocking with the left hand and maybe win a little bit of time in the competitions. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can hit that 10,000 mark this year. Keep on shooting and I hope to see you back in the next one. Bye.